Okay, so I've said before after game three, the Hurricanes need to get shots through and not take as many penalties as they needed to do. For game four against the Boston Bruins, Carolina took too many penalties and did a bad job getting their shots through. And yeah, it was just they beat themselves this past game. I mean, the reason this one's coming out late is I had to sleep on it and then I had a busy day on Monday. Don't have a busy day today, and now I can talk about Carolina beating themselves in really their worst game of the playoffs by far so far. And sorry about that. Carolina playing their worst game of the series so far with the hope of game five. They're going to be back on home ice. And, now that I've had to let it sink in, instead of doing an over the top ranty video, I can just talk about the fact that Carolina played bad with the hopes of them being back home, having home ice advantage, and the phrase, you're not in trouble until you lose at home. But the fact is, Carolina's got to do better about not taking stupid penalties. They let Boston back into the game. I think they had a 2-1 lead. So they get the first goal of the game, which is always good. You need to score the first goal of the game. Let me just take a look at the scores, but they get the lead twice, and it looks like they're going to win this game and everything. Boston ties it up, and then there's a coach's challenge, which, I mean, that was a bad coach's challenge. I'm just going to say it. That was probably one of the worst coach's challenges I've ever seen. You can maybe argue goalie interference, but if the ref doesn't call goalie interference and you challenge it, the puck was loose enough and close enough to the guy's stick that you can argue the guy's going for the puck when he interferes with the goalie, and that's not going to be enough evidence to overturn the goalie interference call. So it was a bad coach's challenge. It gave Boston a power play. Aho does one of the worst high sticks I've ever seen. Like, you need to be in better position on Bergeron so you don't hit him in the face with your stick in the eye. And then Aho takes a double minor, and Boston scores on the power play, and they take the lead, and then that kind of ended up being the game. It really came down to the fact that the Hurricanes beat themselves. They came out strong. They were the better team when they played to their potential again, but they cannot answer the perfection line and the Foligno line. They can't, and they haven't been able to figure it out for 2 games now. Now, hopefully, Brindamore being on home ice with the Lions, he can figure out the matchups that work this game because they need to figure it out. They do. It's not like it's a playoff series. You're not in trouble until you lose at home, but you're not in trouble until you lose at home because A, you still have home ice, but because there are still games that you can win. It's just yeah. I mean, no team's had an easy run except for Colorado, but that really does define the game is the fact that Carolina, they can't get pucks through. They've had many scoring chances, many shots from the point that didn't go through. And what's annoying is when they get them through, for the most part, this game, they shot it right at the goalie's chest. They shot it right at the goalie's chest, cover, fought, like, chest, gloves, whistle. Like, and then they try shooting it again and it would be blocked and they just can't figure it out. Tony DeAngelo, we didn't take a penalty for it. He took a dumb penalty this game after Tony DeAngelo had a pretty good game. Like, to me, this game showcased like what's good about Tony DeAngelo and what's bad about Tony DeAngelo. They let themselves get out hit. It was just yeah. I mean, it just they did not play well this hockey game. They didn't, and they need to figure it out because it started out good. Maybe they should let Boston push for 10 minutes because that's the only negative thing about the 2 games on home ice. But what's frustrating is this is the first playoff series where Carolina is legit just blowing a series to a team that they're better than. Like they're better than Boston. Like so far this series, Carolina's better than Boston. They've given up 2 games from stupid penalties, not getting shots through, and just making sloppy mistakes. And that's not going to cut it in the playoffs. It it isn't. I mean, it sounds like a broken record, but that's really like for 3 years now, Carolina struggled to get shots through against Boston. Every single series, they take shots, they get blocked. Like Carolina has I think they said in the commentary, didn't surprise me at all. Carolina has the lowest shots on goal for attempt percentage in hockey. They got to figure that out. They got to adjust their plans in the offensive zone to be able to get their shots through. That's what Carolina has to do. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the game. We got game 5 tonight. And this might end up being my worst video I've made, but that's why I don't like doing ranty videos. When I just do ranty videos, I just rant about nonsense. But yeah. Oh, Hurricane of the game. I got to give it to Jordan Stahl. I think Jordan Stahl's line's been at least good every single game, and Jordan Stahl's been the anchor of that line. So I'll give Hurricane of the game Jordan Stahl, and let's go out there and let's beat Boston in front of our home fans. Let's go.